Hi everybody. All right, so I have some Arteza watercolor cut down here, and I've already stamped with VersaFine Clear ink this image from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps called the Pasture. And it's so pretty that I thought, you know what, I bet I could attempt to watercolor this. So I've already stamped it out just to save us some time. And I have some paper towels here. And I'm going to grab my little cup of water. And I'm going to use, I have the Arteza watercolors here. And I'm just going to put some of those down on my glass mat. That's what makes it fun about using this glass mat, is everything's right here. I don't need to get anything super special out. I'm going to grab a couple of brushes. And let's just get into it. All right, so it looks like it's going to be pretty simple with just using some greens and more greens, maybe a little bit of brown. So let's start with these kind of grassy hills here. I am going to pre-wet this. Get some colors out. And I'll try to remember to tell you the colors. All right, so this one is called Sap Green, and we're going to use that on our little hills in the background. And like I said, I'm just going to put a dab of it right on the mat here. And I do want to add a lot of water. I really want these to be kind of loosey. What I do like about these paints is they can be as loose or as thick as you want them to be, depending on how much water you add. And I think this green is super vibrant. I probably should have added more water. That's okay. We can always add more water over here. That's what I wanted right there. But I've said it time and time again, the artists that they pick for Blue Knight Rubber Stamps when they get these designs have already drawn a beautiful image. There's very little we have to do as stampers to kind of interpret these images. They're already pretty bright and beautiful, and you know, not much that we need to do. All right, I'm just taking my brush and kind of lifting some of that excess green out of the way. And if you've never seen her channel, I think it's Lisa Christensen's May Rose. I'll link it below. She does a lot with watercoloring. She teaches watercoloring. She does brush shows, and I've learned so many tips and tricks from watching her. She also does a lot with Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. She was previously on the design team, so I know that she keeps in contact with the owner, and she frequently is demonstrating her art with Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. So go check her out. Like I said, I will link her channel for you guys. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of gamboge here, which is kind of like a yellowy color, like a golden yellow. Just a little dab of that. And actually, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre to go with it. Ooh, maybe too much. That's okay. And this little path that's going down here, I think maybe we'll make that color. And And I like the Arteza watercolors because, again, I don't do a whole bunch of watercoloring. And for the price point, you guys, they're so inexpensive that, you know, anybody can afford these, that, you know, it's not like a super name brand that you have to feel like you're spending a lot of money. They're pretty good quality, and you know, you're not taking a big chunk out of your craft budget here. So I'll link those for you guys down below too. Okay, so I kind of like this golden color we got going on. I'm going to add a little bit of green in here. In fact, I'm going to mix some of this yellow ochre and some of this green that we have, just to tone some of this yellow ochre down. There we go. Ooh. And we will we'll go in and stretch that out a little bit. So once we have the color down, we can go in with our wet brush and move that around. Okay, I like it so far, pretty easy. All right, I'm going to do our sky. I am going to wet the majority of this. I love doing watercolor skies now that I've learned the trick from Lisa. Grab this cerulean blue, which is the bright blue. And it's just, you only need a tiny little dab of paint. So for us card makers, this paint's going to last forever. But if you're somebody that wants to dabble in painting, like I said, you get a lot for a little bit. All right, so now I'm basically just going to add this color in random places. Go back in with my brush, stretch that color out. And anywhere that there's too much color, you just go in with your brush, water it down, and lift. You can lift that paint out of the way. In fact, I think I'm going to do that for this whole thing. And then I'll show you the cloud trick I learned from her. If you didn't see me do it before, it's pretty easy to do. So I'm just adding a lot of water. This watercolor paper is pretty heavy duty. It's taking that water and soaking it up right away. So, okay, so what she does is while it's still wet, she takes a paper towel and wads it up and then pulls that color back out. So now what happens is instant clouds. Look at that. Cool. I love it. Okay, I'm pretty much done with the blue, so I'm just going to wipe that up. A smaller brush here. I want to move some of that green closer to the tree here. We're going to go in and clean up this tree in a second anyway. All right, so now we need to get some brown for our trees. grab some of this taupe. Oh, that's a little too gray. We need to darken that up a little bit. We'll add some sepia, which is probably going to be too dark, and we'll just have to mix the two together. And I'm using a smaller brush. This is a number 4 brush. And again, I'm just going to mix those two together. This is like a dark gray. It's not really like a brown. It'll have to do. And again, just putting enough paint down to give base color there. And then I'm going to go back in with the brush, just water on the brush, and spread that color out. I feel like such an artist when I get to do this with these stamps because they make it so easy. And I step back and look at it and I'm like, oh, I painted that. Like, yeah, I just basically colored it, but I feel special. And if you wanted to, you could go in with these other trees that are in the background there and kind of add some dimension to them, especially with stamping on watercolor paper. Sometimes we lose some of that dimension. The crispness of stamping it gets lost with the texture of the paper. So you just go back in and kind of put all those wispy branches back in there. Okay, I would like for my fence to stand out though. I'm going to grab a different color brown here. Okay. So we have some burnt umber. And then I'm going to take a tiny, tiny dab of this over here on my mat. Again, just going in with the smaller brush, and where my fence is, I'm just kind of reiterating that. Just very lightly. Putting my fence back. And I am pretty much done. I'm going to add a little bit more grass over here. So easy to do, quick and simple. Of course, if you wanted to, you could go in, let's see, do I have a more of a scrubby kind of brush? I'll just use this bigger brush, but If I water some more of this yellow ochre down with the green, there we go, make a really light green. And if you wanted to, you could pounce some of that in. Give that tree a little bit of color without overtaking the image or our sky. Very spring look. So now we have some greenery, we have some beautiful clouds in the background. Very, very easy to watercolor this scene. And then of course we let it dry and then mount it on a card. And you can use this anytime. It can be a great masculine card, thinking of you card, thank you card. I mean, any kind of occasion. It's just fun to paint this. You could even put it in a little frame and give it to someone. But again, the stamp is called the Pasture. And again, it's from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. I will link it in the description down below for you. And I just used some Arteza watercolor paper and some Arteza watercolors. And that's it. Very simple to do. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below. If you like this video, I appreciate your thumbs up. And I will link everything in the description. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'll put a little bubble in the bottom right-hand corner. If you click that and then click the bell, you can click if you want to get notified whenever I post a video. Thanks for watching and keep on stamping. Bye-bye.